Morrison. He had reportedly said the call was troubling but not illegal. And the top aide to Vice President Mike Pence, Jennifer Williams, there on the right, in her testimony, she said she did not flag anything noteworthy about the president's call with the Ukrainian president. This as the impeachment investigators hear from White House budget official Mark Sandy of the OMB about the timeline for releasing U.S. military aid to Ukraine. Meanwhile, reaction is still pouring in about yesterday's blockbuster public testimony from former ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. We have live Team Fox News coverage for you on all of the breaking developments. Ellison Barber standing by at the White House. But let's begin with senior Capitol Hill producer Chad Program with the very latest on those depositions. Chad?
The key number of the hour is 3,514. That's the total number of pages that have of transcripts of depositions that we've got. We got, two depositions released just in the past hour and 10 minutes. Jennifer Williams, who is an NSC official, worked with Vice President Pence, and also Tim Morrison. And I want to go to something that is key here. These two witnesses were on the phone call between President Trump and the leader of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, on the 25th of July. That's important here because Republicans have been critical of Democrats of having second and third hand information. These two were on that phone call. And I'm going to go to something that Jennifer Williams, testified to here. She said that, quote, it seemed unusual to other discussions with foreign leaders. She testified that it struck her as unusual and inappropriate to have a discussion about possible investigations. Now, that's important when you get into this firsthand information. Republicans keep saying, wait a minute, everybody they have up here, knows it's second and third hand. Eric Swalwell is a Democratic congressman from California. He's a member of the Intelligence Committee, and he actually says it's the other way around. Listen.
What is remarkable about this investigation is that it is almost entirely driven by witness accounts.
Now, today we got Mark Sandy, who came in for a 5.5-hour deposition. He's with the OMB. Democrats and Republicans want to talk to him to find out how the aid was handled for Ukraine. It's important to note that they tried to get Mick Mulvaney, who technically is still the OMB director. He's the acting chief of staff and the acting OMB director right now, Russ Vought, to come in to testify, and they did not. Adam Schiff said that Mark Sandy's testimony, quote, stands in stark contrast to Mick Mulvaney, who refused to testify. If Mulvaney had evidence that would contradict what we've heard, we would be glad to hear him. Now, Republicans, for their part, they walked out of the closed-door deposition today, and they continue to say that Democrats aren't laying a glove on President Trump. Here's Republican Mark Meadows of North Carolina.
The assumptions that Democrats have made, and certainly the allegations that they have made, have not been supported.
Now, Adam Schiff was not present for the deposition today. He was in California. But in remarks to a Democratic nominating convention in Long Beach, he said, quote, President Trump pressed the president of Ukraine on the July 25th call because he listened to Robert Mueller's testimony on July 24th. Now, Adam Schiff also has indicated today that he may try to call both Morrison and Jennifer Williams for open hearings. We have a whole panoply of open hearings next week, Tuesday through Thursday. Back to you.
Yeah, 8 witnesses next week will be a big one. Chad, thank you. Martha?
Thank you.
Eric, thank you. Well, meanwhile, President Trump continues to push back against the Democrats' impeachment inquiry and defending his July 25th phone call with Ukrainian president. The president saying he did nothing wrong. Let's go to Ellison Barber now. She's live at the White House with the reaction. Ellison.
Hi, Arthel. Yeah, that's right. President Trump is defending that phone call from July 25th, and he's also complaining that the press is not spending enough time looking at the other phone call he had with the Ukrainian president. Listen here.
Congressman Nunes read a call that I had with the president of Ukraine, and it was a great call. It was a very nice call. Everybody said it was perfect. I always say it was equally as good as the other call. They don't want to report it.
The call he's referring to there is from April 21st. Again, the call at the center of the impeachment inquiry took place in late July. The April call happened in the hours after Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky won his election. The call began with President Trump congratulating then-President-elect Zelensky on his win. Zelensky invited Trump to his inauguration in Ukraine. Trump invited Zelensky to the White House when he, quote, was settled in and ready, adding, we'll have a lot of things to talk about. The call never mentioned anything related related to the Bidens or military aid. It also did not mention rooting out corruption, which is odd because the official White House readout released back on April 21st did. The White House says that it's standard operating procedure for the National Security Council to provide these kinds of readouts. They say the NSC's Ukraine expert prepared that one. That expert would likely be Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, a witness set to publicly testify in the impeachment inquiry next week. A big moment in Friday's hearing with the former ambassador to Ukraine came when President Trump attacked the former ambassador in a tweet. The committee's top Democrat called it witness intimidation in real time. President Trump disagrees and says he does not think his tweets or words are intimidating.
I'll tell you about what tampering is. Tampering is when a guy like Shifty Schiff doesn't let us have lawyers. Tampering is when Schiff doesn't let us have witnesses, doesn't let us speak. And it's an embarrassment to our nation.